The whole Trump Elon Musk thing that everyone's talking about, where if it is true that they are disagreeing over certain things, I want to talk about that a little bit.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing. I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both.
The Conservative Party is not going to agree on everything. It doesn't mean that there is a disunity. Being an adult is saying that as free thinkers, as critical thinkers, even as being part of a party, we're going to disagree on things.
Musk in a television interview criticized the one beautiful bill, saying he was disappointed it didn't cut enough, essentially, that it undercut the DOGE efforts. What's your reaction to that?
Well, the reaction's a lot of things. Number one, we have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting. We need to get a lot of support, and we have a lot of support. We will be negotiating that bill, and I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it.
I think that something the Democratic Party does is they do a lot of gaslighting. And anytime there's any type of quarrel or an eyebrow raise, or possibly we are disagreeing on something, they will gaslight and they will say, look, there's disunity. Even, someone's main supporter doesn't agree with them. Their goal, the Democratic Party, is to appeal to the masses and make them think that we are turning on each other or something like that, or look, they regret voting for Trump or something like that. It is normal to disagree, and we are not going to agree on everything. There are a lot of people, and this conversation for me it's something that I've thought about before, but also being prompted by some of the talks that are going on right now, that perhaps Elon and Trump are not agreeing over every little thing right now regarding to finances in the country. And the answer is, in the event that that is true, that's okay. That's okay. Something ironically the Democratic Party always accuses MAGA supporters of is that we are a cult. If we were a cult, the irony is then we would all agree on everything, because that would be a cult. Because isn't it ironic how they call us a cult? But actually, that's not a cult. It means that you can be part of a party, or at least voted for someone, because a lot of people did vote for Trump that were registered a different way or not registered as conservative. A lot of groups of people of different walks of life who looked at two candidates, Trump and Harris, and said, one, I am hopeful that things can improve, and the other can send us into a dystopian world, that being Harris. And you have a lot of people that voted for Trump under that mindset, that I am concerned about Harris, she's an idiot, and I cannot take any more of the cackling behavior and what they've done the last 4 years. And I'm concerned about a lot of her comments about censoring social media, and we don't want to turn into the UK. So the irony, once again, is that the Democratic Party, one, will call us cult, being part of a cult. Yet if we were a cult, then we would not disagree. But then they target us when we don't disagree. The heart of the situation is that we are very much so critical thinkers, and the Democratic Party, a lot of them do not appear to be critical thinkers. That's why they just listen to whatever CNN tells them, basically, and what different story of the day comes out. We who voted for Trump, myself included, were able to look at the situation and see two candidates, Trump and Harris, and realize that there was a better choice over the other, that being to vote for Trump. I am someone who is registered as a conservative, for example, and I do not agree on 100% of the issues of all conservative members. I will give you a quick example. I'm not going to get thoroughly into it because, quite frankly, I think that I'm still developing my own thoughts and need to do more critical self-analysis on the subject matter. The one area that I feel that I do have some back and forth thoughts with is abortion, but not to the extent of the Liberal Party. I am much more pro-life than I am pro-choice. However, I authentically do not take the position as harshly, I don't know if that's the correct word, but as devoted as people like Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk do. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that over time I may not give more critical analysis to it, but I don't take the subject matter lightly. I do not think abortion is birth control, for example. That's why I say that I am much more so pro-life than I am pro-choice. Some of you have asked me in the past what my opinions on some of that was, and I guess this is my first time actually mentioning it a little bit. And again, to be very honest, I feel like I need to do more in-depth self-critical analysis to develop fully my own opinion. But I am a conservative, and I am a conservative pretty much on every other issue of the Conservative Party. I also am able, as a lot of people I think were during the election and currently in today's time, able to see the greater good and the greater purpose. I'm able to talk to someone, for example, who has very clear views on pro-life, and I would be able to have a very respectful conversation with them and say, we may not click on every issue, but I do understand what's important and the greater good. And I feel that one candidate is better than the other. In other words, that we should vote for Trump. And I think that, especially in this past election cycle, what being a conservative actually meant was being able to see the greater good and knowing an overall direction of the country and core moral values that needed to be adhered to, and which candidate we felt represented that more. In other words, that's why in an analysis of everyone who voted for Trump, there was a lot of different people, a lot of different ways people were registered. Maybe you were not registered as a Republican, maybe you were registered as a Democrat, maybe you were an independent, maybe you weren't, whatever. But there's first-time voters, all this stuff, every race and everything. It was about the greater good, and that's why it's so interesting. The Conservative Party is about the greater good. The Conservative Party surely are not cult, because if we were of a cult, then we wouldn't have disagreements and be willing to admit that. And the Democratic Party wants to profit on that. Anytime there's a disagreement, oh, look, there's no unity. With the irony being, but then you call us a cult, but then when we're not a cult and we show that we're critical thinkers, then you're just disagreeing. It's like you can't have it both ways. It's like, which is it? So I think this is an important video to make, because I do feel that one of the core values, unfortunately, of the Democratic Party is to profit anytime they see any disagreement, and to take that disagreement as a sign that people regret their decisions or that we're not as strong of a party as we are. I think what takes strength, as I mentioned in some of my previous videos, when it even comes to personal things, is that having strength is admitting when we are feeling weak. Having strength is admitting that we are not perfect. And having strength is admitting that we have a ability to see a greater good, and that we are willing to become stronger, better people. It is not going out and saying I am a perfect being, and if I show any sign of weakness, that makes me crumble under any other values, because that doesn't make sense. That's gaslighting. I think, and I hope that this was a beneficial video to people out there who maybe, even if you feel like, in other words, you've been gaslit, or the Democratic Party is trying to make you feel like, well, if there's disagreements, maybe we're not as strong as we thought. It's like, actually what makes you strong is admitting that there's going to be disagreement in life over views, important issues, your political beliefs, but that doesn't mean that we're not all on the same side of good. So don't let the gaslighting get to you, and stay true to what you feel is good and true. And I hope that this was a beneficial video, and I hope you like my weird headband. And I will see you all again soon in my next video. And bye!